It's a funny place to be, stuck in a seemingly mundane world with an inner knowing that the universe is so much more than our mortal minds can comprehend. Yet we all have the capacity to know peace and our oneness with the wholeness of life. And through these interviews, discussions, and reflections, it is my intention to share this possibility. I'm Ryan Kurzak, and this is the Kriya Yoga Podcast. Welcome back, everyone, to the Kriya Yoga Podcast. I'm here with a very special guest today, Swami Nirvanananda, who is a Kriya Yogi, Kriya Yoga teacher, a ordained minister through Center for Spiritual Awareness by my teacher as well, Roy Eugene Davis. Swami Nirvanananda is an accomplished musician, singer, and has dedicated much of his life to charity and helping others. So it's wonderful to have you with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Namaste to everyone. Namaste.
Yes.
Good to see you.
So to get started, there's so much that we could talk about. And what I would like to introduce people to, first off, is the work that you do. So what is the work that you do? What is the charitable work that you do, Swami?
So it's a long story. I mean, it started in 1986 when I first went to Puri and to India as well. And I met there a Polish father who started a lepers colony. And he had a small school attached to the village. And we became very good friends. And I like to go almost every day with him and visit the lepers, the families. It was quite shocking, especially at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But then when you realize how happy they can be in such a difficult situation, then you see, wow, all our troubles are nothing compared to the way they are living. So it started like this, and I asked him, Father, how can I help? Because before going to Puri, I stopped also in Varanasi and could meet Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And I liked very much all the work she was doing. It was very touching. It was almost shocking also for me. So after Mother Teresa, I met this father, and he asked me, he said, it's no sense that you stay here. Go back and try to help me to sponsor some of the children to go to school. So, and I thought, yeah, it's a good idea. So I went back, and, I'm a musician since a long time. I've been a musician. And so I mixed my concert with sponsoring, with asking people to sponsor the children. So we started with 7 children. He gave me at that time 7 pictures. And now, after so many years, it happened that the 7 children became more than 1,200 children.
Wow. That's amazing.
But everything happened so spontaneously, without any effort. So I just followed what I felt it was good to do for them, and it was good at the same time also for me.
Were you
traveling?
Were you a Swami at that point in time?
No, I became Swami in 92. Now it's the 30th years. This now in February.
Yes.
At the time I was a brahmachari, but only later I became a Swami. Yes.
Well, that leads us to another really good question, and that is, can you tell us about your spiritual journey? How did you come to Kriya Yoga, and how did you come to do what you do now?
Yeah, that was also very special because it was when I was around 20, I was not satisfied at all of my living. I was an employee in an insurance company very well known, but I was very unhappy. So a friend gave me, at that time, he borrowed me the autobiography of a yogi by Yogananda. And that book, I can say, changed completely my life, the direction I was following to grow. And so I quit my job, I quit everything, and started to meditate, practice yoga, become vegetarian, of course.
This was in your 20s?
25, yeah.
25.
I was 25, yeah.
Wow. And you were raised Catholic, correct?
Yes, half and half, because my father was Lutheran church.
Okay.
Because he was German. So my mother was Catholic, my father. But one Sunday we went to one church. The second Sunday we went to the other church. Yeah. So it was quite the same.
What was it? My grandmother was very Catholic. She's from Italy, and
really?
she had she's from Sicily. She had a very hard time when I began meditating and took an interest in yoga. So I'm curious, really? Was that any difficulty for you too?
No, because fortunately, my mother was very open, even if she was very Catholic, because it's the tradition here also in Italy. But she liked it very much because I was also singing. So she liked singing. So she used to come to the kirtan with me, and she was practicing all the mantras as well.
Wonderful.
It was not difficult at all. Not difficult.
That's good. My grandmother, she didn't drive, so she couldn't go anywhere, and I always drove her around. And she would watch the Catholic channel EWTN, and when they started using the word meditation in the services, she started thinking maybe it was okay to meditate.
Oh, good.
Good. So you've been a practicing yogi for many years then. Yeah.
Yes.
Has it been difficult, or how has it been for you?
No, I would like to say, because at the beginning there was no Kriya Yoga group here in Italy, or I couldn't find any. So the same friend who gave me the autobiography to read, he was practicing Zazen, the Buddhist technique. So I started to follow that path. No, I like it very much because of the intensity of the rules or whatever. Was very happy at the beginning, but then something was missing in my heart. I was feeling it was a little dry, for me at least. So I discovered the devotion aspect. And then, of course, I was lucky because that time I was in Holland and I could meet Swami Hariharananda, that was also a disciple of Sri Yukteswar.
Yes.
And I was initiated in 82 by him.
By him? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's the way it really started my Kriya practice in 82.
I recently started reading some of the books put out by their organization. Were you able to spend much time with him, or what was your experience?
At the beginning, yes, because being there in Puri, so during the day I was in the lepers colony, in the school, of course. But then in the evening, I used to go every evening to the Kara ashram. That's the Sri Yukteswar ashram where he is also buried. The Mahasamadhi is there. And so Hariharananda ji was just leading the meditation every day. It was very nice, very nice.
Was he able to tell many stories about his time with Sri Yukteswar?
Not really, no. He was very dedicated to the path, to the technique. He was not really talking about that time.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember at least. No.
Yeah. And when did you first meet or become aware of Roy Davis?
Oh, that was my last step, let's say, because on my way after Hariharananda ji, I met the Lahiri Mahasaya tradition in Benares.
Okay.
So I practiced also that for some years. And then I used to go to California, so I also was practicing in the Yogananda ji's tradition. And only in 2005, Roy Davis came to Italy for the first time. So I was asked by Furiel to translate his talks. And they said, oh, of course, it will be a joy. So I was very, very happy that I had the possibility, the chance to meet him. And also then, since that time, I used to come to a CSA every summer to meet him also.
Yeah. So you've been introduced to Hariharananda's work, also a lineage through Lahiri Mahasaya and Yogananda. I mean, you've seen the big family tree of Kriya Yoga.
True. Yeah.
I personally wish I had a little more experience in that regard. So I guess what I'm wondering is, having learned and participated in Kriya Yoga in that way, what is it like, getting a little bit from Hariharananda and learning from Lahiri Mahasaya's lineage? Is it pretty much the same emphasis?
Yes. Oh, definitely. The Kriya technique is the same. There are other little aspects that also Yukteswar was teaching little differently. But, then the main thing was the Kriya practice. So this is, I would say, having going through the whole different branches of this tree.
Yeah.
I could see better, for me it was important, I could see better the whole scene, because I was told that also Lahiri Mahasaya, he was not giving the same technique to everyone. He was just giving a personalized technique to each disciple.
Yes. And that brings up a good question, because a lot of people ask me, what is the difference between what they learned from Hariharananda's lineage? What is the difference between Lahiri Mahasaya? And Mr. Davis would always say, you're practicing that Kriya technique, and there's a slight difference on how it's done, but the effect is the same. Would you have anything to add to that?
No, definitely. Roy Davis says it very perfectly. No, nothing to add.
Yeah. Okay, good. And so I do want to talk a little bit about your music. And before we do, we're going to go ahead and play one of your tunes. Not your tunes, pardon me. We're going to play one of your chants.
Yes.
So we'll just take a moment to play the Gayatri Mantra, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
Much.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Devasya Dimai Dio Yona Prachodaya Om Bhurabhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dimai Dio Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurabhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam devasya dhimai diyo yo na prachodaya. Om Bhurvubhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Diyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurvubhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Diyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Bhurvubhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Diyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurvubhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Diyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurvubhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Diyo Yo Na
Okay, so we just got done listening to Swami Nirvanananda's Gayatri Mantra chant. It's a beautiful chant. Is there anything you could tell us about the Gayatri Mantra for those who don't know about it?
It's one of the most important mantra, I would say, and I like it also personally very much. Since I learned it, I cannot stop repeating or chanting. Mainly for me, it is chanting, because through the music, I can add a little devotion that just the repetition, for me, it's missing. So just making the tune out of the mantra, for me, it enriches and gives a lot of feelings that I think is very important. Yeah.
I've always wondered about this. I've always thought of the Gayatri Mantra as sort of like the Lord's Prayer for yogis. Would you say that might be accurate?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, good. So when it comes to your music and when it comes to chanting, I have a lot of people ask me, or they say to me, I'm just not devotional, or I can't get into it. Do you have any advice for people who have difficulty in getting more into the devotional aspect?
Yeah, I became also devotional, mainly singing, chanting, going When the first time I went to India and I heard all the kirtan, the bhajans, and then the singing of the mantras, of course, it was like slowly going deeper and deeper. I would say that chanting is like watering the mantra, and the mantra and the devotion is growing in the heart more and more, and it is not something that you can learn. It is something that is growing within. So you just need to water this devotion every day, a little bit more, and then it flourishes. It is beautiful. You cannot do it without that anymore.
Yeah. So you just day by day trying to cultivate it the best you can.
And I would say also, visiting India for me was so important. Also to see how the poor lived, and all these lepers and the beggars. This gives you a lot of compassion. And I think that through compassion, the devotion can can grow. Because it is like once someone can say, how can I love something or someone that I don't see? No? But if you come in contact with these poor people and you feel the devotion, then you will feel also how through the compassion, how the devotion is growing so much, so intensely. That was my experience.
Yeah. And for people who, want to do more in the world, to be more of service, what would you recommend? How could they start to be a little more charitable, give a little bit more, if they don't know what to do, if they don't know how to start, if they haven't gone to India and seen what you've seen,
Yeah. Yes, this is the easiest way. Just buy a ticket to India and then you are there. Otherwise, there are many charities also in the West. So you can look for, and you will find something where you can express your devotion to everyone, because God is in everyone. So through the compassion, it's just experiencing the devotion for God that is in everyone.
Right. And one quick question, when they want to do more, but they themselves have a lot of difficulty in life, or they are suffering, what would you say to them when they think, well, I just can't because I'm struggling myself? Any thoughts on that?
What I can say is that what I felt is that the best joy I can feel is when I see that I can give some joy to someone else, just also a smile, something. And from the joy that I can give to someone, my inner joy also grows and develops so much. So if I would have difficulties, I would start projecting my attention not to myself, to the ego, but outside, to the other ones who are in need. You see?
Yeah, good. Well, before we move on with the rest of our time, I also would like to take a moment to play. It's a song you recorded from Yogananda's poem. Can you tell us about that before we play it?
It's something I like immediately when I read it for the first time. It's called "I Love You, My Dear India," because I was born in the West, but I really feel my homeland is India, spiritually at least. So I love these words and the way he is going to express it in the poem. And the refrain came to me like this, and I enjoy it very much. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's have a listen, and then we'll come back with a few more questions for Swami Nirvanananda.
Right. Okay.
my dear India. You are the sweetest land of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love your fertile valleys, your dear Ganges I adore. I love your Indian Ocean, and I love a ragged shore. Sweetest land of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love your fertile valleys, your dear Ganges I adore. I love your Indian Ocean, and I love a ragged shore. Where the snow-crowned golden Himalayas keep the watch, where the sages bloom, it is there that I would be. In the land of the free, it is there that I would be. In the land of the free. Sweetest land of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love your fertile valleys, your dear Ganges I adore. I love your Indian Ocean, a ragged shore. Every breeze bearing God's perfume, it is there, India, give over rest. It is home, sweet home for all. And I know when I die, in joy I will sigh for my sunny grand old India. Sweetest land of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love your fertile valleys, your dear Ganges
Okay. Well, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I always love your singing. Every time I listen to you sing, it almost makes me cry. And sometimes it does. Yes. Yes. There's something about the way you sing. And before I forget, if people want to get your music or find your music, where could they find it? How could they find your music?
In the website, nirvanananda.org, you find almost all my chanting.
Okay.
It's very easy to download there, yes.
So nirvanananda.org and just go to the music tab, I would guess.
Yes, it is, yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, the final few questions that I have really relate to Kriya Yoga practice in general, because you've been practicing a long time. You have a lot of experience, and you've met so many Kriya Yoga masters that your wisdom would be helpful for us. So the first question I have is, what advice would you give people who are just beginning to meditate or just beginning to practice Kriya Yoga, and anything that you would say to them?
I would say that the main key is to become regular. Regular, because through regularity, I also felt myself that it was my technique, my practice was, my sadhana, as we say, was deepening. And through the deepening, the intensity of your spiritual growth is increasing. So I would say these two things mainly: regularity, every day, and intensity. Trying not to do much, but to do the quality of what we are doing. Because also Yogananda used to say, the technique of the Kriya Yoga is important, but devotion must be also added to it. So the two combined together, then your growth is really sincere and true.
So to do regularly, daily, and to be engaged, to really pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, very focused on that. Not to do it just, I have to do it, spend some half an hour and then just think something else you are going to do after. No, be focused on what you're doing.
Yes. Well, I don't know why it made me think of this, but it's like if you're spending time with your children or your family, you don't just say, okay, I've got a half hour to spend with my family, so I'm just going to be here, instead of actually being there with them.
Yes. True,
yeah.
true.
Yeah. Well, one side question that comes up, because I recently had someone ask me this. They said that when they sit to meditate, they often easily experience silence. And so they were wondering, should they still do the Kriya Pranayama, or should they still do their meditation techniques? Do you have any advice on that?
I like very much what Roy Davis used to say, because he said, because this question came out many times, also in Italy, and he always was answering, if you feel in a deep state of silence, just stay there. But before finishing your meditation, just practice at least 12 kriyas.
Yeah. Yes, that's good.
I think this is a good suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you. So, and then the next question, because many people practice Kriya Yoga and meditation for many, many, many years. And I don't know whether they know it or sometimes they do. Sometimes they kind of get in a rut, where they get in, they become complacent, I guess. So I guess my question would be, people who have been practicing a long time, what advice would you give people who have been there for a while, just to keep them fresh and engaged? Any thoughts on that?
Yes. Yeah, I would say, because for me, habit at the beginning is very important, just to create just the path where you practice your regularity. But then the habit can be also very dangerous, because after so many years, it can become a habit, something that you do without really the intensity that we were talking about at the beginning. So to be fresh. It's like, I would say, if you play piano or any other instrument, no, you practice all the scales, you practice the techniques and so on. But then you have to create music. So Kriya Yoga is a creation of yourself, a dedication to God. Every meditation should be different not because of the technique, but the way you are living the moment with the spiritual atmosphere.
So we don't necessarily want to put ourselves in a trance. I've read some one of Ramana Maharshi's disciples, yes. and he said that if people would sit there for long periods of time in meditation, not moving, Ramana Maharshi would often go and say, "Shake that person, get them out of that trance," because they're just in a trance. True. So we get out of that. Yeah.
I had this experience from the beginning before starting Kriya Yoga path. When we were practicing Zazen, no, you just watch the wall, you sit and watch the wall, and the trance comes, or just a kind of sleepiness, no? Then the master comes and beats you. But really beat you with a stick, and that shocks completely.
Yeah.
It's a very, very similar.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's probably why getting enough sleep and eating good food helps to keep you awake and alert rather than taking a nap, I suppose.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. What's often difficult for people is trusting themselves in that regard. When they're studying the Bhagavad Gita, when they're practicing meditation, they know what is right and what is true, but they have a hard time trusting that. Do you have any advice for people to help them trust the spiritual truth that they know?
Yeah, I would say that also Yogananda and all the masters, also Roy Davis, he used to say, the real master is within ourselves. So the outside master is just helping us to discover the inner master. Mm-hmm. When we can go and feel in touch with that master, inner master, then we have the truth, because the master is there. The master is speaking within ourselves. And this is the same that whatever Roy Davis, Yogananda Ji can say. He's just speaking within.
Well, thank you so much. I thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us today. Yeah.
My joy. Thank you.
Yes. So if people want to, again, find out more about your work and your music, they can go to nirvanananda.org, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you are located in Italy, though.
In this moment I cannot travel, otherwise I would be in India.
Okay. Yeah.
But now I'm in Italy.
Okay. Well, I'll put that website within the podcast notes so people can find it. And once again, I just want to thank you so much for being here today. It's wonderful to see you again.
Thank you, Ryan, and God bless you.
You too.
Namaste to everyone. Jai Guru. Jai Guru.
This episode of the Kriya Yoga podcast was made possible by donations from Kriya Yoga apprenticeship students and supporters of our Patreon community at www.patreon.com/Kriya Yoga.